2, 1.
You guys, this is just, I've been wanting to do this for a year. Ever since I met you, Annalisa, and toured this amazing hotel up here in Bayfield, Wisconsin. I'm so grateful that you're willing to sit down and chat with me. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
We're happy to have you, Lisa.
What you have created here is just dreamy. It's dreamy. But I think also the fact that you are a husband and wife team and you live in a small town, like I want to hear all of it. So, so where are you from originally?
So we both actually went to middle and high school together in Mound, Minnesota, just on the western side of Lake Minnetonka there. And I had spent a lot of childhood summers up here in Bayfield and Madeline Island area, and this was always like part of how I grew up. Cody, not so much, but.
Yeah, this is not my area.
When was the first time you ever came up here?
I want to say it was like, I was 12 with my parents, but I didn't realize where I was.
Okay.
Type of thing. So like, it was kind of a distant memory that I never even thought about, to be honest with you, until she came along. Yeah.
And she came along pretty early in your life. When did you two start dating?
Oh, we were halfway through college, and I was in Miami. He was in North Dakota.
Like
and
Miami,
Florida.
like Florida? Okay.
Yeah, we knew each other forever, and then I decided this was a great time to start dating this man who had been in my life, and we had been good friends and stuff. So
How did you reconnect if you're both like so far away from each other?
I tricked him.
Yeah.
No, my high school, my senior year high school boyfriend broke my heart, moved to Florida and broke my heart, and Cody was the shoulder that I cried on.
Aww.
And it, like, that kind of set a different way that I looked at this man. And for like a year and a half after that, I was like, maybe Cody and I could be something.
Well, and so you are something. That's it's pretty amazing what you've done. Okay, so so you guys get together, and you lived in the cities.
Yeah, we lived in the cities. Cody actually bought his first real estate deal, an investment flip out in Buffalo. We called it Camp Buffalo. Sight unseen, on auction, and that was our first home together. But the plan was you were going to flip that.
I wouldn't say it was together either, because you were still living with your parents, and I was living in North Dakota working, and I bought it in, like you said, sight unseen, and I was like, I'm going to live the bachelor life for a long time, and eventually she got kicked out of her parents' house, and all of a sudden her boxes showed up at my house. I'm like, okay, here we go. And that kind of stalled because I was living in a little part of the house and like slowly work on the rest of it. And then when she moved in, obviously a lot of stuff came with it. So
me and all my things.
And you didn't know how to change the locks, or?
Yeah, I should have done that. Looking back, but no. Yeah,
This was all part of my plan.
Yeah.
This was all part of my master plan.
Are you still afraid?
Yeah.
And 7 years later, we were married.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's 7 years later? Oh my goodness.
It took a while.
Yeah.
I was the guy in college that everyone's like, you're never going to have kids, you're never going to date anyone. So it was kind of like, she did trick me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Situation.
She kind of showed up and said, this is what's happening.
I mean, because I lived in my car for a while. Like, I was fine being by myself and like out in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah.
And did you have an interest? I mean, like, what possessed you to buy real estate in college?
Well, I was out of college. I was actually working construction, but I was working in the power plants out in North Dakota, and I'd been out there for like a year. And my grandpa always wanted to help his grandkids out, and there was this auction thing, and my dad looked at the house, and I took his word for it, and then I thought there was no way I was going to get it, and it was a screaming deal, and I figured out why when I showed up to it for the first time. But it was also a great investment property that worked out well. I just took a lot longer on the flipping side of it than I anticipated. So, yeah.
The final impetus of let's finish the house and move out of here, and it was part of my plan to get to Bayfield, was agreeing to his dream of spending a winter out west and living in the mountains. And so we just decided one day, we're like, all right, this winter he's going to apply for a job at a snowmobile resort, and we're going to finish the house, put it on the market, and just go live for 6 months and see what happens. And it sold. So.
Yeah.
And were you married at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So married, but no kids. When you went to Colorado?
We had our first kid, and we went to Wyoming. So our
Oh.
youngest, she had just started to walk. She was 1 year old. Yeah. And I was pregnant with our second.
And you just upped and took it all, and
That's where I wanted to live. We'd still be out there if it was up to me.
I think he agreed to it because when we put the house on the market, it was his way of like purge all the stuff in the boxes that I had. Like, if we can only fit everything we own into one snowmobile trailer, like this is one way we can get rid of her stuff. So sell the house.
Funny thing is we still got boxes that she hasn't opened from those days. So
oh my God, I love
Yeah.
that so
I
much.
hid them at my parents'.
yeah,
Wow, I'm kind of afraid for you,
yeah,
actually.
it's terrifying. I keep saying one of these days when all these guys go out of town, I'm just gonna throw everything away and then start over from new.
Oh my God, the day he threw my coffee mugs away, I went dumpster diving. I was like, you can't take away these memories.
But yeah, so you have kind of that, but you also are willing to just kind of up, and like it's so romantic to me to
Yeah.
like go to a whole new place, just the two of you. Did you know people?
We only knew, so we'd gone out snowmobiling there. I had a few times, and I met the one guy they called Lefty, and he only had one arm, but he guided snowmobiling.
Hopefully left.
Yeah.
The left
No,
arm.
he had his right arm.
Yeah.
But-
That was our honeymoon. We went guided snowmobiling with Lefty together.
But he was probably, he's one of the most talented guys, and he was really cool, and he talked me into applying for a job, and I didn't end up getting the job that I applied for, but I got a job that worked out better. And yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, I love that part of life because we were traveling a lot. Like, it was on a whim. Like, if you're all of a sudden a deal came up, we were traveling, so it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at sitting in one place too long, so.
Like, I remember Tegan was 4 months old, and the Zika virus was going around, and his parents were going to Mexico, and we were like, I wonder what plane tickets would cost. Like, we should go crash their Cabo trip. And we looked, and because of Zika, everyone was terrified to go, and we got plane tickets for like $250 to go to Mexico. We were there 10 days later. We went to like the passport station, got our baby a passport, and we found a place on Airbnb at the resort and crashed his parents' stay. It was a really fun time in our life, just like being us and adventuring. Like, definitely at the heart of everything we've done.
Well, and I would think that those kinds of experiences kind of helped you work together. I mean, you guys have spent a lot of time really having to count on each other because you're willing to just up and go.
Yeah, like early in my real estate career, I wasn't making any money. I was just living with him, and he took care of me. And then I finally like got a big girl job and was doing some like brand consulting and like finally being able to help contribute to the house a little bit and pay for these fun trips we were going on. Like, I feel like we've always kind of balanced each other out in that way. Like, okay, now we're going to take a leap and we're going to move out to the mountains because you want to be there. And now, we're back in Bayfield because I had crazy ideas, and we're here now. So,
And talk to me about, Annalisa, about your real estate interests. Like, where did that come from?
I think it starts with a love of travel and taking care of people. So when I was 15 years old, my grandmother took me to Europe for a month. And I swear that trip kind of changed the trajectory of my life. It like kind of humbled me in appreciating real estate, like really, really, really old real estate, and how communities exist around those places. It was a global perspective that I had never had before. I didn't realize it at the time, right? But it all kind of, the needle threads and connects to that. I was really passionate about storytelling. You hear me going on and on. So no surprise, I sought out a marketing degree for my undergrad. I went to Miami. It had a really great marketing program. And throughout all of my electives, I kept taking these entrepreneurship classes and pitching real estate deals.
Really?
And I just I just kept gravitating towards it. And my professor Susan Amat, she kind of called me out, and she's like, you realize everybody else in here is pitching widgets and like products or businesses, and like you're pitching places. She's like, lean into that. And she's like, you would be a really good real estate developer. Like you see things that people don't. And that was the first time in my life that anyone had kind of instilled that idea in my head. So quickly I went down the rabbit hole of discovering, I could get a master's in real estate development, like, and learn more of the fundamentals of pro formas and, how communities work and all that good stuff. So I came back from college to Minnesota because there was no way. Cody was like, if you go out to the West Coast or the East Coast for grad school, I'm not following you. So I came back home and got into University of St. Thomas. They had a new Master's of Science in Real Estate program. And I did that in the evenings and just loved every second of it. And so that like big idea thinker in me, it was just constantly bubbling. I'd drive around downtown Minneapolis and like be like, oh, that building should be this, or what if this was in this neighborhood? But I also, because of, I think that professor that saw something in me that I didn't know was there, it kind of taught me to lean into people around me who were in the industry and would take me under their wing. And so I had a handful of incredible mentors. Tom Lund, he was with Opus Development at the time. He would pick me up for lunch and we'd drive around and we'd dream of these projects together. And then we'd work on, pretend pro formas at the lunch table. He also hired me. He's like, you're going to name this apartment building that I'm doing right now. And I was like, what? He's like, it's perfect for you. You got marketing, it's real estate, it'll bring you some cash and support, which you're going to need if you want to be a developer. So that's the long-winded version.
How did you meet him? Because, how do you, we just got done with this, Women in Real Estate retreat, and, that it's really important to reach out to people and ask for help.
Yeah. So one of my masters, it was my real estate law professor. He said, you need to meet my friend, Tom Lund. And I think it was like 2 weeks into the program, and I met Tom, and we hit it off instantly. And I really appreciated, in this industry, there's not a lot of men who want to pour into you what they have. They're almost threatened by you. Tom's not one of those guys. And I've appreciated in my career any of those, wiser, more experienced people who are willing to just share and pour into you what they have and further inspire your capabilities.
Okay, so you're now in Wyoming, is that what you said, or Montana? Wyoming, sorry. And traveling all over the place. You have 2 tiny little babies. Mm-hmm. And something tells me this is your idea of what you do next.
Well, so one of the things that allowed us to move out to Wyoming, I guess, was we had just opened the Hewing Hotel. So the Hewing Hotel in Minneapolis was my first attempt at putting together a real estate deal. And I am so grateful it was a successful one, and that I found other people who had the money, who had the knowledge, who had all the things to pour into this big idea that I had, and who took me seriously enough to allow me to be at the table and be a part of that project every step of the way through. So I learned a ton with that project. And we had just gotten married, and our babies were little, and I had a nice little developer fee that I was like, I don't need to work this winter that hard, and Cody can take a pay cut, and we can just go have this fun little dream. Totally irresponsible, young 30s. We don't need to save money, but we figured it out, right? We're figuring it out.
So what's your side of the story, Cody?
One thing Alisa's never been great at is financials. Mm-hmm. So that whole side of it, a kid that would have made the money she had made making the right decisions. So looking back, hindsight's 20/20, right? So I made a ton of decisions with the stuff that I had done and saved a lot of money, and I was always tight with my money, and she was very, hey, let's go do all these things. So that was the toughest part of all of it. Mm-hmm. Because she'd be buying all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I just thought you always had money. And
Yeah, we blew the rest of it on our winter in Wyoming.
But I mean, it was like, because we got nothing, the cost of living out there was not like next to nothing. I mean, we weren't doing anything. We lived in a house in the country. We went to Jackson once a week. So like, we weren't spending money. I was either snowmobiling or grooming or sitting at home with the kids. So it was like, we weren't spending money. So like I said, I was really good at not spending money.
I'm really good at spending money.
But yeah, I mean, looking at that, I mean, because I was ready to stay there. Like when we were loading the trailer the last time, I'm like, why are we going home? There's no need to go back home. I'm like, this is home. And she's like, well, I got wild rice and I got a obligation there. And I'm like, well, we'll go back for 6 months and then we're coming back and we're just going to move out here. Mm-hmm. Then that turned into 4 years and now it's 7. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the connection to Wild Rice Retreat.
Yeah. So I think it's really cool to look back at like all these really intentional connections that happen at just the right time with people I've surrounded myself with. And Heidi Zimmer, owner founder of Wild Rice Retreat, she was one of them. And it was my family loves coming to Bayfield. We're spending a lot of time in Bayfield. Cody and I, when we're in Minnesota, we were weekend warriors. Well, we were up one weekend and my parents went to the final farewell dinner at Wild Rice restaurant. And they sat next to Heidi and they sat next to David Salmela. And the friends that my parents brought with were my hairstylist, Will and Tammy. And Will does Mary Rice's hair. So we have the same hairstylist.
Oh, that's
and so
awesome.
they're all sitting having a fabulous evening. And Heidi shares Wild Rice Reborn. And it was actually my hairdresser before my dad, which shocks me. But he was like, you need to meet Annalisa. Like, she wants to live here in Bayfield. She knows how to do all these things. She's eager to learn. And so we got connected 2 weeks later at a Starbucks in Edina. And our mutual connection was Tom Lund. So it was like, okay, if Tom's endorsing you, I'm endorsing you. Let's sign a real estate development contract, because she was full-time at Art Space still. And I was like, well, we're going out west for the next winter. And then I'm trying to get Cody to move to Bayfield this spring. And she's like, that's perfect timing for me. So
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of how it all began. Yeah.
So you got back here, and your deal with Cody was 6 months.
It was, yeah.
In Bayfield.
We signed a month-to-month lease in a house, and we were renting a home in Bayfield, and I was here to help Heidi get Wild Rice up and off the ground. Like, my first contract with her was to get through the initial zoning and entitlements in order to operate as a retreat center and navigate that process. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's okay. You know, when you
Duty
own a
calls.
business, you know, you need to.
And he's back.
Yeah.
When the UPS driver says you got something that smells really bad,
Oh.
check it out.
What
What's
is it?
ramps? So apparently they're just fresh and they really
They do stay.
very
What are they?
ramps.
It's like leeks, like
Very
herbs.
very pungent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Like I love we're like living real life right here, right now. Yeah.
It never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends.
I'm sure. Okay, so what are your thoughts? You show up in Bayfield, you've rented a house, your whole family's here, you're just like, what do you do? What did you do when you got here?
So in her whole time, because they had a plan of doing a development outside of town, and that's how I got up here, is I got to know some of the local people, and they became like family. So we were coming up every weekend, and that's kind of, we moved up here, and I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do or was going to do, but I ended up going to work with this gentleman doing dirt work, and then he farmed us out to another guy, so I got into marine construction for a while, and I was kind of over that. So then I went back to the dirt work side, and I was hoping at some point I was going to take his business over. But the thing about dirt work is it's very seasonal, and then it's up here, it's
Nothing.
A short
even more
season.
seasonal.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you do work a lot of long hours, but at the same time you're not working that much. So coming from where my ironworking background, where I was working a lot, making a lot of money, I'm like, we got to make a change. Because it was, in Wisconsin, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to live in a seasonal town, in a seasonal place. So for me, it was kind of a struggle. I was ready to either go back out west to where it's even if you're not happy, I was happy. Just because you walk outside and you see the mountains and all this stuff, and it's really cool. So I was ready to either go back out west or go back to the cities and do ironwork again, to where like we could be financially stable again.
Because again, I had run us completely out of money at this point.
Yeah, because I had done a couple other real estate things to where I bought a house in North Minneapolis, I flipped another house, so I'd had a good chunk of money and we were burning through that really fast. So it was like, we got to make a change, because I've always, like I said, I lived most of my life debt free and didn't ever really have to worry about money. So when we got into that situation, I was like, for me it was a struggle, and it was a hard thing between us too, financially. When you're struggling, it's like I want to do what's best for our family. So it's like, I'm either willing to take a chance on something that'll help us, whether it works or not. I'm like, we're still young enough that we could, file bankruptcy and move to Chile, where I could
snowmobile. Do you hear a theme here?
And and I could get away from it all. But so it was a tough. Like the first couple years was great, and then after that it was like, all right, it's starting to get in a funk, so to say. So yeah, it was time for something to happen.
Yeah.
So you have no money, you're in a funk, you're in a small seasonal town, so let's buy a building.
Well, yeah, Wild Rice had just opened,
okay.
And I was begging Heidi to hire me to work for free as her full-time creative director, because I just loved what we had created there. And it was, a part of my Bayfield identity here. Like, this is my family. It's, we've been working on this project 4 years in a pandemic, and look what we just did. And I didn't want to not be a part of that day to day anymore. And he was like, no, seriously, like, one of us needs to be like, we can't just keep doing this. Then he said, all right, would you stop doing this for everybody else and do this for us? And he's like, he gave me a timeline and an ultimatum. And you had other ideas for what that was going to inspire, like the building next door.
Oh yeah, like I was thinking, I just wanted to have something that we own, that, because I've worked a lot of different jobs, and I've always worked my butt off for whatever it was, and in my feelings, it made someone a lot of money. So I'm like, if I can have something of my own, and then like we can at least focus on it, no matter how small it was. So I was thinking something small and we can just get our hands in and like figure it all out. And then the first building she came to me with, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, that's insane. And
was that this building?
No.
Oh, okay. No.
It was another building. Luckily, that deal fell through, and I was like, oh, thank God. But then, like, the next week, she brings an even worse looking building to me, and I'm like,
it was twice the size.
Yeah, I'm like, this is crazy. But it was again, I'm just, you never know if you don't take a chance, and I was at that point to where, like I said, I'm willing to risk it all for a chance to do something for us and like create something versus always doing something for someone else.
Yeah, I think like I always struggled a bit with like imposter syndrome, like, okay, well, I can help other people do it because that feels less risky, and I can get a nice little consulting fee, and that's all in well, but it's not ever going to grow you. Like, you can't leverage and scale yourself when you're taking on one client at a time and doing that, and getting to like touch other people's projects is fun, and you don't have to sign any of the financial risk. That feels good too. But where we were at, it was a crossroads of our life for sure. And it was like, we needed massive change to happen, like for our own like mental well-being too.
Well, because we also, like, we had started some other, like, we started a clothing line, or I started a clothing line, and then like the whole idea of us working together did not go well because I expected so much, but then I also didn't give that much. So for me to like force or demand something to her, but then I also wasn't holding myself accountable, was a great learning experience, because it never got off the ground just because neither one of us really put the effort in.
Mm-hmm. And our communication was horrible during that venture, for sure.
Yeah, like that, it would basically be just me upset about marketing and like branding things not happening, but then I also not me taking accountability for the things I wasn't doing.
Wow, that's so honest.
Yeah, so it was a good eye-opening experience, because we both had dreams and have things that we want to accomplish, and I always relied on her for things like I wanted to do a lavender farm, but I don't know, like I didn't know pro forma stuff. I don't know, finding the backers, the finance side of it. Like I can do small end things, like, but like big project, big scheme, like I didn't know the people. So I kept asking her, and that was also another big thing with us too, is that we always butted heads in a lot of that. And again, I was always me thinking that she wasn't, but I wasn't holding myself accountable or her.
And we're both just really stubborn personalities.
So like when we came into this, I could tell that she was obviously more into it, and I was obviously into it, and I was ready for a change. So you could tell it was a better fit for the timing of it all.
So it felt right to both of you. Like you both could say yes.
Yeah.
It felt totally different. Like I'll never forget when we walked in the doors here and it's 20 below zero or something stupid. We walk into this abandoned, gutted building and I lit up like a Christmas tree. And Cody at first had the look of horror on his face, and then he looked up and he's like, damn, she's got good bones. It was like there was this switch, and it was almost like God being like, all right, guys, this is what I've prepared you for.
And I also thought someone would say no on the whole project, so I was like, I'll appease her and say it's gonna happen, and then someone's gonna say, yeah, you guys are nuts, don't do it. But that didn't happen.
Clearly, because here we are.
And now he's Mr. Hospitality.
The best bartender in Bayfield.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Definitely not that. But I'm learning every day. That's all that matters. Like I tell everyone here, I'm like, as long as we improve and learn something every day, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So where do you start? You walk into this crazy building, and and you had the vision for what it could be.
Yeah. So at the former building 2 weeks prior, that I had like thrown like a little mini business plan and like a conceptual board to try to win over. I was in a bidding war with the doctor who ultimately won and turned it into a bar.
That's
I was
so
like
fun.
trying to win over the seller, and which is what it originally was, and it was totally meant to be that. I already had like the fire burning, and then when I walked in here, the fire got way bigger because the space was bigger. It was a more open layout, and historically, this was a hotel. Like 140 years ago, this was a hotel with a saloon on the first floor, rooms on the second floor, and it was almost like you could feel that energy a little bit walking in of like, yes, this is what it was built for. And like, I've always wanted my own little boutique hotel, like just getting a taste of the hotelier life, with the Hewing. It was like, I want to do that again. That felt really good.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. So what do you do first? I mean, how do you even start?
Well, so Cody gave me 3 conditions before I could sign the purchase agreement.
And that's where it started.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought one of the 3 were going to say no. Because that Tom, going back to Tom Lund, I'd met Tom a handful of times, and he was a straight shooter, no BS, tell you like it is kind of guy. So it was like, as long as you show him a pro forma and he's like, all right, it makes sense, this is viable, I'm like, I'm on board with that. And then we need a general contractor, preferably from the cities that has experience with historic buildings. There are a lot of very talented people in this area, but they'll tell you right now it's 2 years before they touch anything because they're all booked out.
Really?
And it's kind of, they're really good at what they do, and they methodically do it, but no one was going to be able to accomplish it in the timeline. So I'm like, we need a general contractor that's going to, be able to bring some people from the cities to make things happen faster. So then we brought Griner up because she had worked with them on the Hewing. And again, I'm thinking, a bigger name general contractor. There's no way they're going to touch this. They came in and they're like, yeah, this looks great. We can definitely do this. And I'm like,
the structural part that like had us concerned. They're like, oh yeah, we could fix that in an afternoon. And Cody's like, damn it.
Yeah, because there was like parts, where studs weren't touching a sill plate in the back wall. There was a whole bunch of things that I'm like, and I thought there's no way. And they're like, yeah, not a problem. Mm-hmm. No big deal. So that was like, okay. And then finding financing, I'm like, there's no way we're going to get financing for this. And then somehow she managed to pull that off. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm. So I actually signed the purchase agreement on this building before we had all those 3 conditions met. with only enough money in the bank account to put down for the escrow, and I wrote a cash offer. And we closed on the building 90 days later.
Oh my gosh.
We found an amazing woman entrepreneur. She owns and operates affordable housing in Duluth, and she's a dear family friend. And I signed the purchase agreement knowing, all right, if this is meant to be, like, what's the worst that could happen? I lost the $10,000 I had to throw at it and got to go through the exercise and put ourselves under the pressure. But giving myself that deadline, giving us that deadline, it was like I pitched it to a handful of people, and they were like, "You're so sweet, but you're crazy." Like,
and
okay,
Cody
good
was
luck
like,
to
"I
you.
agree with
Like,
that."
let us know when it gets built. We'd love to come stay at your hotel. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. But this woman, she heard the passion, she heard the desperateness in us to like have change for our family and for this area, and she agreed to fund the acquisition of the building and a pre-development loan so that I could get the building and the property positioned for a bank to say yes. We were able to pay her back in less than a year from when we funded it, and she was about the most ecstatic human being, and she's like, all right, next time you got a project, you call me back up. So it was like such a blessing. Such a blessing.
So, yeah, needless to say, we were building the plane as we were coming down to land. So I mean, we were still putting the wings on before. Yeah, it was crazy. And that was throughout the whole project. I mean,
It continues to be that way, dear.
Yeah, looking back, I mean, we got to a point where she had to pick out paint colors, and it's like they're ready to paint, and I was like, either you pick out a paint color or I'm gonna throw the swatches on the ground and just pick one. So it was like we were, like, again, building the plane as it's coming to the ground.
Yeah. But that being said, like, we were on a very aggressive timeline, right? Because holding cost is one thing in real estate, and getting it to a cash flow state as quick as possible, like, that's the name of the game. Like, the only way that this works is if we got it somehow operational, heads in beds, by the following summer. So we bought this building 3 years ago this month, April of 2022.
Wow.
That's when we closed on the building. We started doing self-owner, like, demo, and I say we, I mean he and my father-in-law spent a lot of hours in here just, like, ripping out more boards and, like, really unveiling what did we have. And then I focused on the pretty stuff, working with our great design team, AWH, my aunt with Coco Perry Design, figuring it all out. No surprise, the project budget doubled during that process, but we found 3 more hotel rooms that we could fit in, so it worked. And so we didn't close on our financing until, well, we closed on our financing in February 1st of 2023. So this all happened, permits, entitlements, historic tax credit approvals, placing a historic tax credit investor. I love Bremer Bank. Shout out to Bremer Bank. I don't know if you have sponsors, but there, you just got to plug Bremer. They, like, everyone came to the table and got a deal done in February. Griner had already started construction in earnest before that.
Wow.
So that we could put heads in beds by end of July 2023.
Wow.
So we could cash flow, so we could make this whole thing work, which was a huge blessing. And how all of that happened in less than 18 months, and how we've already been open for 18 months, like, it doesn't feel real.
It makes me tired just thinking about it.
It's definitely real because we're here every day.
Well, and you are here. I mean, this is, first of all, this is just beautiful. I mean, the details are just stunning. I mean, every room is beautiful. I love the architecture. You said the floors were kind of inspired by...
Yeah, so I loved our lobby floors so much at the Hewing Hotel, and I loved the gentleman who reclaims this wood from all around the state of Wisconsin, finishes it and puts it in, like, cool dude. And so as soon as we were coming to material selections for the lobby floor, I was like, it's already decided. I was like, Griner, you call up that guy who made the floors for the Hewing, and I want that same thing here in Bayfield. And when I tell people that who come in here and I make the Hewing connection, they're like, I get it now. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So, Cody, what was your role in all of this as it was kind of happening?
Cody was still working full-time construction and husband of the year.
Yeah, I want to say the word I want to say, I can't say it, but I was the grunt. So I was, like she said, working my full-time job, and then I'd come here at night and demo. And then when construction started, I was here more often because it was in the winter, so we weren't doing dirt work. So I was helping out wherever I could, but then Griner would leave on Thursday, and I'd be like, what do you need done? What do you want done? So I did a lot of the crappy work. And like I'd scrap stuff, tear things out, move things. So whatever needed to get done, I was just here to make happen.
He would scoop buckets of sand out of the basement and pull it up on a dummy waiter.
Yeah, that was not fun.
And then wheelbarrow concrete loads in and haul it down to the basement.
Yeah. There was a lot of, the basement turned into a nightmare that ended up being a lot more work than anticipated. But again, it's just how do you roll with the punches and make things happen? Because there's some things that happened down there that there was one night I sat up here in the dark, just like, I don't know how we're going to fix this or get around this. And you just wake up the next morning and do what you can to make it happen. And like she said, there was like 3 small dump truck loads of sand that I hauled out in 5-gallon buckets, and then a truckload of concrete that we wheelbarrowed in and put through a hole in the floor to do the basement. We got a bigger basement out of the deal, but it was like, man, it's just a struggle. But it was, like I said, you just got to take the highs and lows and, again, make it happen, because, you know, we didn't have an option at that point. It's like, what are you going to do?
We had signed away life insurance policies to the bank. We're completely indebted for a while now, and it's like failure is not an option. And, like, I love the innocence of our girls, too. Like, they just fully, like, had this mentality of, like, all right, Mom, Dad, like, give me the broom. Like, let's help clean up this site so the boys can work this week. And, like, you know, they were 4 and 6 when we started this, and now they're 7 and 9, and it's like to watch through their eyes what we did and transform. Like, I think that's a really amazing, like, life moment for them that we're never gonna fully see the benefits of that until they're adults, and I can't wait to see, like, what that means. But yeah, we were all in.
Yeah, well, and you said the Griner folks became family, and, you know. Yeah,
it was really cool. I mean, I still talk to the superintendent that was on the site, you know, weekly.
Yeah, the president, Josh, like, whenever he's in town, like, we always get together and
chat with
Josh.
him. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of great people, and again, like, that's kind of that Northwoods mentality. I mean, it's always been kind of is that, you know, everyone's family, and I appreciate everyone because I've done a lot of the work that everyone was doing, so it's like you appreciate the guy that's doing it. So I don't care if you're the janitor or if you're the CEO. You're all the same person to me, and that's kind of how we treated everybody, and it's, you know, that's a huge thing in my opinion on how this thing got done, because, you know, people tend to give a little bit more too, and they feel appreciated. So there was times where it was a struggle for things, and people would step up to the plate and help me out and make things happen, which is huge on the construction side.
Yeah.
Tell me what it felt like the first day you opened and had guests stay here.
I think I blacked out that summer. Like, if I'm being totally honest, there was so much happening at that point. I compare it to the analogy of being an overpregnant mom, and I was 10 months pregnant, and I needed to have the baby, but I don't really remember having the baby. It was surreal, and I don't really remember that first summer of having heads in beds, because we were also finishing construction on the restaurant and then looking at each other going, oh shit, we built a restaurant. Like, how are we gonna operate that? Like, we need a chef. Like, I didn't think through this part of the plan yet fully. I just had pretty pictures.
You didn't think through any part of the plan fully.
Again, back to the building the plane as you fly it. But I do remember there was a night a couple weeks before the restaurant opened. So the restaurant opened 3 months after the hotel. And I was here all by myself, and the pretty lights were hung, and the furniture was here, and I was just, like, cleaning the floor again. And I just, like, turned on music. I had started this, like, Spotify playlist of, like, what I wanted it to feel like in here. And I turned it on, and the lighting was just perfect. And I just, like, hung out for, like, an extra hour, just, like, in that moment. And I texted him. I was like, I'm not coming home. I'm, like, I'm appreciating this right now. Like, it felt, that was like the first moment where it was like, oh my God, this actually happened. This is real. Look at what we did. So.
Yeah, I'd say looking back, it was a disaster. Because realistically, we had no systems, we had no plan. Like, getting people checked in with the locks and all that was kind of a disaster. And then the laundry room was a disaster, like how it was all operating. So we've come a long way and refined all the things that we do, which has been huge. But yeah, that first little bit, like, we were walking everybody up to their room, showing them how to get in, all the things, just because it wasn't very user friendly at the beginning.
Yeah.
So like, we've learned a lot, and because I kept saying, you know, people would come through the front door and they'd be like, I think we're here to check in, and it's like, oh yeah, let me pull up your stuff. And so it's definitely, it was a huge learning curve that I think we adapted to rather quickly. But then what we lacked in like knowledge and experience, we made up for in just the hospitality side of things and like really making it a personal
So
thing.
we still have all 5-star reviews on Google. Thank you, everybody who was our first guinea pig guest here.
Yeah, because it was an interesting learning curve at first, for sure.
So tell me about the turntables, because that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So I was on an inspiration trip. I like to do those very often. This was my
Sounds like it.
This was my last inspiration trip I got to go on, like, during construction, and they were like, all right, you need to be here all the time. So I was actually in Laguna Beach, and I was at this cool boutique hotel, and they had a turntable in the room, and I was like, this is genius.
In the hotel room?
In the hotel room.
Okay.
And I was like, this is genius. And like, then you went out to like their main area, and they had a turntable and a whole lounge situation, and I was like, vinyl's making a comeback. Like, if this bougie boutique hotel in Laguna Beach is doing it, like, I feel like there's an appreciation happening all over again. And, you know, I tend to like see trends just as they're beginning and like notice them and pay attention to that. And this was one of them. The other cool thing was my grandpa, he had recently shared with me that he had all this vinyl and didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, okay, perfect. Can it go in the rooms upstairs? So it's like a part of our family that guests get to experience and connect with here. And they can, you know, get a little nostalgic and listen to your weird music. And people loved it. So, yeah.
And then you have people stopping by with their own albums to kind of add to the collection.
Yeah, because then at the beginning it started out, so we had the turntable down here and we were doing vinyl pizza nights and like bring your own vinyl and play. Well, next thing you know, we were getting boxes of vinyl dropped off. And at some point it's like, and some people brought some incredible vinyl, like really probably stuff that's worth some money. And they're like, yeah, just have it and you can play it. And then you're getting boxes of stuff that you would never, like you'd see at the Goodwill for 50 cents that no one would ever buy. So then we're like, I think we got enough vinyl for a while.
So we do have a very eclectic curated mix that is community inspired here.
Well,
on the
Annalisa's
Record
good
Lounge.
with putting boxes of things in, you
So
know, hiding
good.
them. So like,
Yeah,
you
if
know,
it was up to her, that whole wall would probably be full of just stuff that people
did.
just drop off.
Didn't you remember my sketch that I had of like the full library where it filled that entire wall where the rabbit painting is?
So we'll kind of wrap things up here, but I feel like I could chat with you guys all day, and you're being so fun and honest.
We do part 2 another time.
Yeah, we should. I'd love that, because I do know that there's more in, you know, both of you. You don't like to sit still, and
Yeah.
she's always got something percolating.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So I can't wait to see part 2. But and we didn't even get a chance to talk about the lavender farm. That's a whole nother story, right?
Yep, next episode.
Yeah, next episode.
That's a
So
whole nother
stay tuned. I want some lavender tips. But tell me how you guys have survived all of the different challenges of moving away together, moving in together, making all these decisions, and you know, some of them have been your plan and some of them have been your plan, but getting through all those hard times, like how have you gotten to this place where you're really coexisting in a pretty cool way?
Go first, or do you want me to go first?
I would say it's a struggle, right?
It's work. It is work.
And I'll be completely honest here. Semi-sobriety has definitely helped me. So like when we started, and again, this goes back to the whole Wisconsin nature, or what I call like somewhat of the mentality of what Wisconsin is. Like like drinking's a huge thing, and it was like for me forever. It was huge. It wasn't until like partway through this project that something happened to me, and then I ended up becoming, you know, fairly soberish, I would say. Like if I have 1 or 2 beers a week, that's a big thing. I didn't realize how much of my life I was actually wasting away by drinking as much as I was, and then like that was part of the culture here, and another reason why I want to kind of get away from it. So when that all changed, like I have a different perspective on life to some extent, and that was also part of my battle with a lot of things was I would drink and then it would cause problems. So like that has helped ease things, and it helps communicate better. Like it helps me communicate and it helps things flow better. Like I don't hold it in and then just burst out now. So that's been huge. But yeah, it was all, you know, it's all part of life and the struggle of life, like how you perceive it and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. Like, do you want to just, you know, toe the line all your life, or do you want to try to make something magical? And that was, for me, like when we started this, I didn't realize what it become. It's become something bigger, and especially with our kids and everything. So it's been huge, and that has played a big role in it as well.
So like, commenting on what Cody said too, I decided that the day I signed the purchase agreement was going to be the last day that I had a drink. So talking about sober and talking about being just like more aware and fully present, like for me, I knew we were about to take on a whole new kind of stress that we didn't know what was ahead of us, but I knew the only way through it was to be fully present for it. And so that was an intentional choice that I made at that point in my life for myself, for nobody else. And I'm so happy I did that. I do agree it's allowed our communication to flow better. We can have hard conversations. We can talk about numbers. We can challenge each other on things. We can call each other out. But we also get to enjoy those moments so much more. Our entire relationship, like getting through the hard times, has always been when we choose to turn toward one another or include one another. You know, for a while in my consulting stuff, Cody had nothing to do with those projects, and I was traveling all over the place, and we were very disconnected. You know, we still would like come home to each other at night, but I didn't know what ironworking stuff he worked on, and you know, the only thing that bonded us was when we'd get to travel. And now it's like deciding drink menu things bonds us, paying vendors bonds us. Like, who's gonna clean the bathrooms today? No, it's like, it is really sweet.
But I was also when I was also very good at separating work and life. Mm-hmm. So what I did at work was my work life. What I did at home was home. So like I never brought work home with me at all.
I ruined you now.
Yeah, well now it's all the same thing.
It is our life.
Yeah. So it's, but yeah, it's definitely it's just more the communication is what definitely helped us get through all of it. And if it wasn't for that, I mean, I think there's no way we'd be sitting here today if we didn't communicate.
Yeah. The other fun thing that we do is we bartend together on the weekends here as our way of being together, enjoying this, connecting with people, and getting to share those memories together. Like, we don't take turns. We include our kids with this whole story, not, you know, choosing this or the family. It's like, this is the family. And I think that's a huge part of what's going to help us be successful going forward.
Wow. You guys are awesome. I can't wait for the movie. I mean, it's just, or the TV show, as everybody was talking about yesterday. But
Gilmore Girls, the movie.
Thank you for being so honest and so, I mean, I love this even more than I thought I would. It was worth waiting a year to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
And it's like, I tell everyone this, like, I feel you don't sugarcoat anything, be honest, because the only way people learn and grow is with honesty and being open about things. Like, and for the people that are looking to do stuff like this, just do it. And like I told everyone, have a plan. Your plan's gonna fail, but have a plan going into it, and then just work on growing. Like, when something comes up, just fix it and move on. But have a plan and start and do it, because you'll never know if you don't try. And again, that's what it's all about, is just growth and learning and moving forward.
I'm so happy he gave me the ultimatum.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Some days I question it, but I miss my mountains and snowmobiling, but that's all right. Someday I'll get it back.
Yes.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.